the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And sometimes I click record and I say that intro and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Anyway, I just keep doing. So here we are again today. And I thought maybe we would take the week and do a series on this framework for acceptance because I feel like each one of these stages of acceptance that I talked about yesterday can be expanded upon a lot. And I feel like I could benefit from talking about it. And that's a signal to me because I know I'm not unique, that all of us could probably expand on it a little bit. And I also told you guys I'm an overachiever, so there's a couple other things I'm going to be doing to expand on it. And right now I'm creating a presentation for vision challenges related to vestibular disorders. And I'm going to be sharing that with the Vestibular Disorder Association and seeing where I can push that out. It's based on the blog or the article that I read that led me to my path of recovery, like learning about what it is that I was actually suffering from. So I thought the best thing that I can do is try to multi-purpose that article into different kinds of media so that it can be pushed out and seen by more people. So I'm working on that right now. I'm actually done with the presentation part of it. It's taken me, oh gosh, a month. I hate to say that, but it takes me a long time to do things because of my disability. But I'm done with that. So now I just have to put together the script for it. And then, so that'll be coming out soon. And I think that I want to do the same thing for this. So we'll get started with stage one of the 6-stage framework of acceptance. So this is labeled fine. So this is trying to get past that automatic reaction of I'm fine. I'm totally fine. That. So all of this sparked from when I went to the coffee shop 2 days ago and we were leaving the coffee shop. I was having very heightened symptoms. I was standing on the curb. I looked left. Sorry, I just had a smoothie. And I think I have a flaxseed stuck in my throat. Yeah, flaxseed. It's organic, so I don't know. Anyway, I was standing on the curb. I looked left, and as I was looking right, I was like, "Ooh," that's what it feels like. It's really hard to explain, but it's just like, okay, my eyes are not moving quickly. I'm unable to focus when I try to zoom in on something. I can't really do it. So I realized at that moment, this would be a time where it's a little more risky for me to walk across the parking lot. And that's the reason why I had applied to the DMV for a handicap placard. Well, I was there with another person, not with my husband. So that wasn't something that we did. Honestly, I really got that handicap placard for a busy parking lot like Costco or going to I can't think of the name right now, the Expo Center. Those are things that I don't typically do, but if I did, I wanted to, I felt like it was important for me to do it safely. So that was a point in my recovery where I was displaying acceptance by doing that. It felt really weird. I remember texting some of my friends and family when I got this handicap placard in the mail. I was thinking, this is weird. This is really weird. And it still is weird to me that I'm handicapped. I don't know. I probably feel that way for a long time. And that's why this acceptance thing is so important to me because I feel like if it's taking me this long to adapt mentally to being disabled, um, it probably takes a lot of people time for that. And it's not, the acceptance piece is not for saying like I'm less than, okay, I'm not capable, or I'm less than who I was before. It's about being able to say I'm okay despite, I'm very able despite, and I'm willing to look at what I can do and what I can't do. And as long as I'm walking around saying I'm fine, like I'm standing on the curb and I'm thinking I can't see well, the first thing that popped into my mind is that's okay, I'm fine. And I thought what I thought was I'll just keep her slightly in front of me, the person that I was with. And that's what I do with my husband too. Keep them slightly in front of me so that I can see their reaction, so that if I need to drop and roll, then like if I see them drop and roll, I need to drop and roll. And that's, I shouldn't be doing that. I really shouldn't be doing that. I just like say I'm fine. I smile through whatever it is that is happening, whatever symptom it is, and have this prevalence of a reflex to say, I'm fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And so this can apply, gosh, this can apply to anybody, right? When we're not feeling, I did it again. You heard me. I said, right. I'm trying not to do that. This applies to anyone that may be feeling a little bit of emotional setback, or feeling troubled emotionally. We a lot of times say, I'm fine. How many times do you walk through the hallway at work now that you're back at work again? How do you, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at you. It's not laughable. So, how many times do you walk down the hallway and somebody says, Good morning, how are you? And you're like, I'm fine, and you're not fine. You're feeling kind of like either you're tired or you're sick or you're having problems, personal problems with something. Our reaction is to say, I'm fine, because a lot of times we don't want to talk about it. And other times we don't want to talk about it with you, you know? So that is a reflex. And this reflex to say I'm fine, it could be denial. It could be. If we're not fully self-aware of why we're saying we're fine. If there's nothing wrong with saying you're fine when you're not fine, if it is intentional. I'm saying fine because I don't want to talk to this person about being fine. This is not about not being fine. This isn't somebody that I want to like dismantle my emotions in front of, and just show my authentic self. I get it, but I'm fine in the context of me getting ready to step into a busy parking lot when I can't see is denial. That was total denial. And I'm making a big deal out of it, even though it was an instant that I dealt with it, and I thought I'm fine, and I stepped into the parking lot. It could have been a real problem, and I am talking about it so much because I'm trying to drill it into my own head. Um, what I'm fine really means in that situation is that I am disguising my problem. I am, and there's different ways that we can do that. We can, um, we can lie and smile. And speaking of smiling, we can sometimes use these self-deprecating jokes to deflect anyone's concern about what's actually going on. I do it a lot. Honestly, I do it a lot. When people say, "How are you doing?" Somebody asked me today, "How are you doing?" in a text. And I said, I thought really hard about how to respond. Do I say I'm fine? And I didn't even think about this episode, honestly. Do I say I'm fine? Do I say, oh, I'm doing pretty good? I'm doing great. I don't know what I am. That's the honest truth. I don't know what I am. Because in some ways I'm really great, some ways I'm really grateful. That's my response. I'm really grateful. That's how I am. I'm really great when I'm painting. And I've really grown to enjoy that a lot. Yesterday, I was really great because I was making bracelets. And visit my Etsy page if you want to see the new bracelets. They are being uploaded today and they're pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie. These ones are not spoon and cup theory. These have different kinds of charms on them. So see recoveryupcycling.etsy.com and get a bracelet. Okay. I should have some commercial music outside of that. Okay, so back to the topic. Self-deprecating jokes in order to deflect concern. We smile. We say, you know, I'm I'm doing okay, and that's usually opening the door a little bit to if they really want to know, they'll ask me, "Oh, really? Tell me more." So there's also a tendency in this area of I'm fine to just get really, really busy. Go on a productivity frenzy, if you will, be hyper businessy, outrun your pain. And I think that is very much something that I do in my life. I have a very, very difficult time standing still. Very difficult time. And if I am standing still, I need to be doing something when I'm standing still. Like there's always something going on up there between my ears. And I get in and out of the habit of listening to audiobooks. So right now I'm listening to a couple audiobooks. I just finished one and just started another one. And that helps me, excuse me, sorry, smoothie. That helps me relax a little bit throughout the day. I don't tend to move my body and my eyes as much if I'm listening to an audiobook. So, that is another way, though, to ignore what's actually going on, is to keep my brain busy. And finally, taking care of other people. And in that respect, people in my life are Boris and Autumn. I am hyper focused on taking care of them throughout the day when I'm not doing my hobbies and stuff. Like right now, They are fast asleep here in my studio. And when they are not sleeping, we are out walking or doing training or something like that. So taking care of them helps deflect as well. Sometimes I'm doing things with them so much that I'm actually triggering my own symptoms. And that is a problem. That is an I'm fine and I'm not really fine. So, what are the costs of using these common masks in order to um, support the I'm fine thought? You know, what are the hidden costs of denial? And one of them is pretty obvious to me, and that is that I increase my symptoms. When I don't tell somebody, when I don't follow the next stages of acceptance, I am most likely increasing my symptoms. I'm triggering them even more because I'm not telling anybody what's going on. I'm just keeping it to myself. I'm just smiling and saying, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Um, so that's the first thing, increasing my symptoms. Another thing is I'm delaying treatment if I say that I'm fine. And what that reminds me of is this back pain I've been dealing with. I have been acting like I'm fine for ever since I had my stroke. That's when my back started hurting because after I got out of the hospital, I walked Autumn and she pulled the leash and just like ripped muscles in the right side of my back, down my spine and in my neck. It's terrible. It's terrible. And I was managing it, I thought, and it just has continued to get worse and worse until now it's arthritic. And that's unfortunate. But I kept saying that I was fine, really because I couldn't handle any other kind of medical care. I felt like it was too much for me to go to an additional doctor. Um, and it's just, I wasn't fine. So I delayed my treatment. I also, when it was time for me to actually try some treatment, it was inadequate treatment. And that was not my fault. I think I was attempting to go to the appropriate doctors and they acted as if they knew what was wrong with me and tried to treat me. And really, they did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. I think I learned from both of them, but their treatment alone was not making anything any better. So those mild symptoms that I had in my back are now very acute, and it is a real issue. We're at the point now in my house that if I'm cooking, my husband is there and he's the one who needs to bend over and get everything out of the cabinets and stuff because I just try to avoid bending over at this point. So I've been using my TENS machine. I've been going to dry needling, which I have today again at 12:30, and I hate it. I hate dry needling. It hurts really bad. And it doesn't feel like it's doing anything, but I'm not going to stop. So we'll just keep trying. The TENS machine seems to really help temporarily. So I just do it several times a day to just keep that cracking at bay. Anyway, I've gone down a tangent. So saying I'm fine is delaying the treatment and sometimes making things even worse. Another thing is when I'm telling people that I'm fine and they can see that I'm not fine, that is straining a relationship. That is making somebody I love who cares about me feel like I'm shutting them out. And that's not a good thing either. So when we say that we're fine, I'm okay. I'm doing all right. It's okay. I'm all right. And I'm not, they know that I'm not. So I don't know who I think I'm lying to. You know, I'm lying to myself. That's who I'm lying to. And when I don't say out loud what's really going on, I am just internalizing my own fear about what what do how am I going to get this fixed? I start feeling anxious because I'm not being honest. And that's what happened with my back. I kept not saying anything. And I'm like, oh, I have to ask my husband to take me to another doctor. I feel bad about that. And he has never once complained. That's not true. Only when we have to go to DC is there any complaining going on. But who doesn't complain when you have to drive into DC other than my sister? Hi, sissy. And then finally, like being saying that you're fine and you're not fine is straining your body. It's straining your cognitive load. Like it is energy draining. I have been walking around the house this week in particular, or over the past 5 days, I would say, since my last dry needling, so 7 days, just like, oh, like having to take a deep breath and just like moaning, in pain. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. So, I have just started really saying I'm not fine. And that's because I can't hide it anymore. And I shouldn't say I'm fine until I can't hide it. That is really not a good idea. So um, let's look at what personal triggers we have that lead us to say I'm fine, and then maybe we can change that. Maybe we can shift from when somebody says I'm fine, or when I'm alone and I'm getting ready to step into a parking lot and I'm saying to myself, oh, you're fine. You're fine. Just keep walking. You're just like everybody else. Just keep walking. Instead of doing that, knowing what can we do in order to spot that fine trigger, that personal fine trigger. So first is self-awareness cues. Like, what is your verbal cue when you're about to say I'm fine, or when you're telling yourself I'm fine? There's like, for example, one thing I hear people say all the time is no worries. It kind of drives me crazy, but anyway, no worries is one. All good, or could be worse. There's another one that people say, how are you doing? I'm living the dream. I heard a lot of that when I was working. That sarcastic humor can be, it is really self-deprecating because you're making fun. You're not living the dream. But what's funny is sometimes I've heard people say I'm living the dream, and I'm like, I bet you are. Like, really? I'm like, yeah, you look like you are, honestly. Like, in comparison to me, you do look like you're living a dream. So are you making fun, or are you actually saying it for real? Anyway, that was another side note. So what are those self-talk cues that can turn into self-awareness cues, where instead of saying I'm fine, I'm living the dream, or no worries, you can actually say, this is one of those moments where I'm lying to myself, you know? The second way to like spot a I'm fine trigger is to get into the habit of doing a body scan. Do a quick head to toe check and see, is there something that's bothering me? And if it is, rate it from like 1 to 10. My jaw hurts. So I have TMJ. I've had it since I was in high school. And there are days that I've got, like a 4, like there's like I slept wrong or something like that. I sleep with one of those splints in my mouth, and some days, like last night, oh dear. Okay, another side note. I can't help it. I was doing my stretches before bed, and I had put my splint on my nightstand beside the bed where Autumn was laying down adorably. And I went and did my stretches on the floor, and then I hear, and I'm like, oh, gee. So I get up, she's over there licking on my splint. So I didn't wear it last night because I was like, oh, I need to clean it before I wear it. And I was like, I'm just not wearing it. Because I was so tired. I didn't want to have to do all the cleaning stuff. So I rinsed it off and just put it on the kitchen counter. So that was it. But so when I woke up this morning, my jaw's a little tired. So do a quick head to toe check. How much is that bothering me from 1 to 10? I mean, it's pretty much nothing. It's like a 2. But if I get in the habit of doing that, tomorrow when I wake up, is it a 4? Is it a 5 the next day? And making that a habit of doing that body scan can really, I think, head off any of those increasingly achy problems that we continue to say I'm fine, but it's actually getting worse. So yeah. And then finally, I really like this one, doing a micro journal. Okay. So the way that you do the micro journal is you start every entry each day, and you start it out with actually, comma, that's it. You start with actually, comma, and you write what is going on. That's it. And this is to help you spot something that you may be covering up, that you may not even be aware of covering up. So this is moving from being fine to being authentic. And a lot of it is just talking to yourself. It's naming the need, translating that actually, comma, and whatever you felt afterwards into an action. Actually, I am feeling a little worse today than I normally do. My head is aching and my vision is not clear. If I don't write that down, I might ignore it all day long. And if I write it down, I recognize that I probably shouldn't work on the vision challenges with vestibular disorders presentation or something like that. I probably shouldn't do any of the digital stuff that I've been practicing with. And then also journaling this stuff is being able to communicate with clarity, because when we sit down and we actually write, it seems that we're able to, for me, I'm able to think a little further and assign the correct words to how I'm feeling. And when I do that, it's a little, I don't know, it adds clarity in my own mind about how severe something is. And when I put, actually, like my head is actually like, and I pause, and I'm trying to think of the word for what am I actually feeling like? I feel like I have a hangover. It feels like a hangover. Sorry. Autumn's here again. The barker. The barker is here. I noticed when I listened back to the episode that you guys can't necessarily hear her bark because it happens so fast. But I apologize for it anyway. And then moving from fine to authentic, it's going to get us to, once we can have some self-talk that is a little more clear and authentic, then we can include our support network and be able to more accurately communicate to our doctors, our family, and our friends what's going on. And that brings them into the loop and allows them to help us, people, I've heard this a lot over the past, I don't know, couple years. When we allow somebody to help us, it's a gift to them. You're giving them a feeling of being needed. And that goes a long way in a relationship. So think of it as that. If you don't want to ask for help for your own benefit, think about saying, you know what, I'm going to give you a gift. And I'm going to need you to bend over and get the potatoes out of the cabinet. So allowing people to help us is really, I think, a way to nurture a relationship as a whole. Um, so let's just fast forward then. I want to really focus on being able to reframe that word when I'm going to say I'm fine, or whatever that trigger word is for you. No worries, or all good. Mine is I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm fine. Whenever I hear myself say that, it's a signal that I need to pause and I need to do an honest inventory. And having that authentic acknowledgement is a gateway to targeted care, for what is actually going on. And I have chronic pain every day, right? Sorry, I did it again. I have chronic pain every day. I don't have to have the back pain too. I, with the back pain and the head pain, it's even more important that I get honest with myself and be like, this is not okay. I don't have to live this way. So let's try to work on not saying I'm fine. It doesn't mean that you can't say it to anybody. It doesn't mean when you don't want to talk to somebody that you have to talk to them. I'm not saying that. But let it be a trigger for you to take an honest look at inside at maybe there's something that needs to be addressed. So that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about the next phase of the stage of the framework of acceptance, and that is focus. And that's when the reality of what's going on, the thing that we're saying we're fine about, and we're now stopping ourselves from saying I'm fine and taking an honest look. This is the part where we're taking the honest look. So this is focus, and that'll be tomorrow. So thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you tomorrow.